Whenever a horrible map gets noticed by people on the internet, I often get tagged and emailed by at least a dozen random people, at minimum. With the continuing rise of lazy AI-generated slop maps, this is happening more frequently, and as governments and businesses adopt AI to save a buck, we get more embarrassing incidents. But real quickly, for one bad map that isn't AI-related but is business-related, let's go all the way back to 2019 during an incident when the Red Bull company presented this awful map of the world during some sort of business meeting. Obviously, the crudeness of the map was done as a joke, including the labels like "bombs go here where the Middle East is supposed to be," haha, funny, which is what got them in hot water for a brief moment. For the map itself, I'd normally give this a 2 out of 10, but weirdly because this isn't AI, I'll actually be nice this one time and give it a 3 out of 10. But now let's see how AI has made business maps even worse, even despite being serious. One such map was from back in March of this year, when a travel concierge released a map advertising a new train route in Europe from Prague to Copenhagen, and the result was quite embarrassing. None of the cities were in the right place, although at least Hamburg was close. Well, one of the Hamburgs. Also look, Samogosha is back. If we corrected this map, such a route would be closer to this, assuming the double Hamburgs mean the route just circles back at a later date for some reason. Now, looking at the original map, the obvious suspicion is, of course, that this is an AI-generated map. This is likely the case, although longtime viewers of this series will remember, I've featured even worse maps that existed well before AI-generated imaging existed. In any case, I'll give this a 5 out of 10. I found that smaller businesses are also a common source of bad AI maps. While maybe you could feel a bit more sympathetic about the saving money angle since they need it more, frankly, it's just not that difficult to find free-to-use, accurate blank maps online yourself. Or, I don't know, draw it yourself. If I could do it as a teenager, surely so can you. This map was used by a small-town restaurant in the US state of Missouri, and it has certainly altered the map. It looks like most of Iowa got partitioned between Missouri and Nebraska, although apparently the city of Des Moines just fled to Illinois. Springfield, Missouri also fled to Arkansas, St. Louis, Missouri fled to Illinois, and, well, I guess there is a Kansas City in Kansas, but the Missouri-Kansas City, it seems, is gone. Maybe the food at this restaurant is really good, I don't know, but the map is not. 4 out of 10. For a viewer-sent bad map, we have this map sent in by Edward. Apparently, this is from the Castlevania show. I remember years ago watching the first season and finding a bad map which inspired me to create an entire video correcting it. I'll link that at the end of the video if you're interested. Edward said this map was from Season 4, Episode 2, so I guess the maps just got worse. Even if I wanted to assume this is purposefully done in the style of some ancient Ptolemaic-style map, I can't get over India directly bordering what I assume are the Carpathian Mountains over here. 2 out of 10. Well, this probably isn't AI, so 3 out of 10. It's very rare when a horrible map is so bad that it actually makes not only the top of a few subreddits, but the mainstream news. On July 26th of 2026, Emily Bass reported an embarrassingly inaccurate map used by the United States State Department at a global conference in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, about combating AIDS. In a more normal circumstance before AI, you imagine it would be some embarrassing thing like a mislabeled country here or there, but in this case, everything is wrong. None of these blobs drawn are accurate to any of the African countries. There are also examples of mismatched labels and colors as well. The closest saving grace of accuracy this map has is at least the labeled Uganda and Malawi blobs overlap with the real ones. Maybe if you're nicer and you notice this blob is the same color as the Ivory Coast label here, you could say there's a slight overlap there as well if you correct the label, but that's about it. It was later discovered, of course, that this horrible map had a watermark on it that indicated it was created by AI, more specifically with OpenAI tools. Not surprising, and it's especially fitting considering the current administration of the United States is really trying hard to be the most anti-geographic one. Yes, that sounds silly. How can something be anti-geography? Well, cut fundings to anything that researches our geography like NASA, maintains our geography like parks and conservation groups, as well as cut funds to anything that hopes to protect our geography like climate change research. Why should we expect them to care about something as simple as the shapes of countries? Or the proper names of bodies of water? The only pleasant surprise is at least the State Department took responsibility for the bad map. The BBC in their coverage of this geographical disaster actually made a really good map showing how off each of these AI-generated blobs were from the actual countries in question. I couldn't have done a better job myself. Good work. Obviously, this map gets the coveted nope out of 10. But a good map I want to highlight this week is a bit more unconventional. The Rubin Observatory in Chile began taking detailed pictures of the southern sky with its extremely good cameras. The first photo is out, and this map of a minuscule part of space contains nearly 500,000 stars and another 100,000 or so galaxies. If you go to their website, you can zoom in and see just how numerous they are, and frankly, it's so beautiful that you could now easily distinguish the different star colors from each other as well. I know it's not a map in the conventional sense, but it counts, and it still deserves to be viewed. It's stunning stuff. And that'll do it for this episode of Horrible Maps. I'm Emperor Tigerstar, and I'll see you guys next time.